Inviting Bollywood's reigning mogul and marketing guru Aamir Khan to come on stage, talk to us for a few minutes and perhaps field some questions. The box office earnings of his last 5 films, 2 of which have been Indian cinema's titanic grossers, would be the envy of many a corporate czar. His co-workers say he is a perfectionist. His female fans describe him as the thinking woman's crumpet. And those who claim to know him well say that the key to his success is that he follows his heart. Would Aamir Khan please come up on stage?
Distinguished guests on the dais, ladies and gentlemen, very good evening. I was told to speak about lateral thinking and innovation, but can I request that I speak on something else? Lateral thinking, straight away. What I'd really like to speak about is inclusive growth, because I've heard that word being used a number of times today, and I'm very happy to hear that. I really am. And this is a thought that I have, and I've had this thought for some time since I was researching my film Tare Zameen Par and then Three Idiots, which are both about education. And this is something which I felt I must share with all of you all, because you're all really important people who can make a difference to our society and to our lives, to our country. You know, I felt that right from the time that a child is born, right from the time that a child is 2 years old or 3 years old, the first thing we ask every child is, have you come first? What marks did you get? We subconsciously instill in him a spirit of competition. Did you come first in the lemon and spoon race? You know, it starts from there. So the child grows up feeling that this is what is important to my parents. I need to come first, I need to excel, I need to, my son knows 3 poems, my son knows 4 poems, my daughter does this. And children grow up with this feeling of competitiveness. And as a result, we end up developing a society which thinks only for itself. We think selfishly. I need to succeed by hook or by crook. I need to come first. I need to get what I want for myself. And that comes naturally to us, because that's what we've picked up. Right from our birth, that's what we've picked up. That comes naturally to us. What I'm hoping to see is if the parents of our country, of our nation, can, instead of asking our children, have you come first, did you score high marks, instead of all of that, if we ask our children, whom did you help today? Is there any child who needed your help and you came forward and helped that child? Whose face did you bring a smile on today? If these are the questions we ask our children from that small, young, tender age, I think that when those children reach the age of 20, 21, we will have a society which is caring. I think it will be a completely altered society. This is what I actually wanted to say. I don't know if you guys agree with me or not, but I feel so strongly about this. And this whole concept of inclusion is so wonderful, and I think it should be, inculcated in our children right from the time that they're born. I think that's the only way that we can really practically bring about a change. Because I'm sure all of us want to do something good. But what is it that stops us, from taking that extra step? What is it that really stops us? I think that, my mother, I remember my mother, I played a lot of tennis when I was a kid. And I was pretty good at it. So when I would come home, she would ask me, did you win or lose? And usually I would win, so my answer would be, yes, I won. And then she would get really happy, she would smile. And then invariably, after 5 or 10 minutes, she would come to me and say, the boy who lost, he must have reached home now, and his mother must have asked him, did you win or lose? And he must have told his mother that he lost. So his mother must be feeling really bad right now. And suddenly I used to start feeling really horrible for having won that match. And You know, from then onwards, I don't think she was trying to teach me anything actually. I think this is how she is, you know, this is how she is as a person. But this is what I remember of her, and this is what I've learned from her. And from then onwards, each time I played a tournament or a match, I would look at my opponent like a human being, you know. I just didn't look upon him as someone I wanted to get the better of. He was someone who I wanted to play with, and he was someone who, after the match, when I shook hands with him, I looked into his eyes, you know, shared a cold drink after the match with him. I think these are the things that, you know, really matter. And within education, perhaps the one thing that I would also like to see when we talk of inclusion is in our education system, we still don't, most of our schools still don't include children with major disabilities or even minor disabilities or difficulties, learning difficulties. We don't include them in our mainstream education. I think it has to start from there. A child who's born with a problem has to be included. If it starts from there, it will percolate right through. Yes, the child won't be able to answer a plus b the whole squared is equal to what. He won't be able to, you know, perhaps memorize things as we do. But so what? Yeah, he's a child, and he needs to be with his friends, children his own age. He has a right to be there. And who are we to decide that he doesn't belong there and has to be put somewhere else? That is inclusion. And I think it's unfair of us to even take that away from our own children. Our own children have the right to sit next to another child who may have problems and help him. You know, that's a right we're taking away from our own children. So right from the time, I'm saying from the time the child is born, from the, you know, starting of her education, I think inclusion should be the thought right from that time, which I think will ultimately result in inclusion in our society, in our hearts as we go along our lives. That's what I really believe. So actually I want to talk about inclusion, not about lateral thinking. About lateral thinking, I mean, I don't know, yeah. I just follow my heart and I do things I've always felt like doing. I've always done what I felt like doing. You know, I'm known to be someone who's constantly broken the rule and swum against the tide. It's not something I enjoy doing. It's very tiring. It's very difficult. It's not something I set out to do. But I've just, you know, felt like doing certain things in life, and I feel that I had the courage to. I'm glad I had the courage to stick with what I felt at each time, whether it was when I was 16 and my parents wanted me to be an engineer or a doctor or a professional with a steady job, and they were really upset when I said that I want to be in the films. I remember I was in the 12th standard and I said I'm going to start working as an assistant director, and everybody I knew around me was telling me, don't do that. You know, you're making the biggest mistake of your life. Don't quit your education. Don't stop your studies. At least be a graduate. Don't stop your studies was the mantra. I said, guys, I'm not stopping my studies. I'm actually starting them. You don't realize what I'm saying. I'm starting my studies because I've discovered what I love and this is what I want to do. So I am going to start actually my education now. So right from that time, I mean, if I hadn't taken that step, I would have been somewhere else today. Right from that time to, you know, films like Rang De Basanti is a film that had been made 4 times before that. Story of Bhagat Singh and Chandrasekhar Azad had been made 4 times before that, in the previous year. And we were setting out to make the 5th. It's a bizarre decision, it doesn't make sense at all, yeah. But I just followed my heart, I just loved the script, I wanted to do it. It didn't make any practical sense. Or even Tare Zameen Par, a film about a child suffering from dyslexia. So I've always believed that, I don't know whether it's lateral thinking, but I think for me it's common sense, and following my heart is what I've believed in. And I've believed in doing that with love and passion and sincerity and with caring towards what I'm doing. I guess that's it, yeah.